So Phil, so we're interested to talk about performance websites, and why they're important as part of an overall marketing strategy. But performance website is a term that we use, isn't it, to describe a certain level of website. Can you sort of briefly define what's the difference between a performance site and a normal site? What is a performance website?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about performance websites, and our definition of it's a site built on an enterprise level platform. It won't be something created in a template with plugins. We're talking of the types of businesses that we deal with. It's very normal to have this enterprise level product, and it will be built like that to be as lightweight and efficient as possible. It will be built with security in mind, but ultimately with performance in mind, to be fast, to be preferred by the search algorithms, and ultimately to deliver a result, to deliver leads and sales.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I understand that's like a professional, there's a real professionalism about that build. Maybe I say it's a corporate level website or a very mature website. So let's flip it then. What's the difference when people come to us, or when you field an inquiry, when one comes in and so on?
Right.
Obviously, most of those don't have a performance website. So what do they have instead, and what's the problem with that? What's the weakness in what people normally have?
Well, if you've got, a perfectly capable templated website, it may look good, but it's likely to be, if it's on a more generic platform, it's likely to be saddled with plugins that go out of date. It's likely to be saddled with lots of code to suit lots of purposes that most clients aren't going to need. They're never going to need them. And I guess the difference is building a sort of a performance level site. We simply build just what the client needs. We take all those very exacting requirements in the workshop or in previous discussions, and we simply give them what they need, which makes a much more efficient, performance level product.
So I'm going to sense check that I've definitely got this. So if you say just what we need, part of that is code, and it's a light, fast website, obviously.
Yeah.
It's really professionally built, but really senior developers. But there's something in there that is, what's the job of the website? It's just to get people from they're interested to they've inquired. That might be one. So we give just what they need in content and structure as well. It's exactly what's needed to get somebody from, I'm considering speaking to you, to actually, I'm now in touch with you.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because we can talk about minimizing the code and making that side of it efficient, but it's also optimizing that user journey to make that journey from engaging and landing on the site to being, to the right call to action, making that as efficient and clear as possible, and getting them to just where they need to be in the shortest or the fewest clicks possible. And that's all built into it. We don't want to clutter the site with stuff that's not required. Yeah. So we've got efficient code, but we've got the most efficient, essentially, user journey as well.
Sure. Okay. So I'm imagining a performance difference there then. Obviously, so I'm going to ask a question which I think the client would ask. Or prospect would ask. So I imagine old style site, or, typical average site it could be WordPress, it could be something else, but it's a templated site, or it's got some plugins at work and lots of code that you don't need. You've described something very succinct, lightweight, long lifespan there, converting at a really high rate. As I listen to you describe one option versus the other, it sounds like there might be very different costs to build them. But is that the case?
Well, yes, I guess you would.
I know the answer.
Yeah, I know you. Yeah. I guess the expectation is that if we describe this sort of enterprise level high performance site, that it sounds complex and big, and it's actually quite the opposite. We talked earlier about only building what we need. Well, then that inherently means that, and also optimizing those user journeys. That means this enterprise level product that we create is perfectly optimized to give the customer just what they need and no more. So that actually brings the cost down in some respects.
Right. Yeah. No, I see. Okay. So it's just that it's so simple and sort of almost perfectly planned. And I guess maintenance then and the life of it is lower cost as well, because security risk will be lower. And there's not plugins to manage and all this sort of thing.
Yeah. So, if you've got plugins that could be designed by any third party and incorporated into it, there's no requirement to have those and have those going out of date. That improves the security of the site. But if you're simply building what you need, that creates a site that potentially has a longer life. It needs less ongoing maintenance. We always talk about 3 to 5 years. I would say it's erring more to 5 years, but let's say 3 to 5 years, less ongoing requirements for updates and amends. But ultimately, the additional value comes from, if we're building a site of that quality, then it's going to perform for lead generation or sales or the marketing side of things. You're going to get that better return on your ad spend as well.
Okay. All right. So maybe that's what pulls it all together then. So I get the difference, but then, well, actually, you would have been involved. I don't know how many of these rebuilds, maybe it's, 20, 30, 40 or something.
30 plus, yeah.
Yeah. So, and you'll see the impact of when a business flips from its regular, ordinary, maybe WordPress or maybe something else website to a performance site, enterprise CMS. What's the performance difference then, or what's the numbers difference, and what does it impact?
It impacts many areas. If you start at the sort of the first stage, it's that initial sort of user engagement. So you're going to get improved metrics. People are going to stay on the site longer. That's what we see. It's going to attract a better, let's say, quality of traffic. The leads that we get in, if the site's performing at its absolute optimum, and the marketing is, then those leads convert better as well. So we see it all the way through, and that leads to a more engaged customer base.
Yes.
Yeah. So the benefits sort of cascade from there.
Yeah. Great. So it impacts all marketing, basically.
All marketing, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil.
Benchmark your company's digital marketing with this free tool. It takes 5 minutes to audit your strategy, and you get a free report with recommendations. Visit bespokedigital.agency/free.